Hey folks, Dan Frio here today, and we're going to talk the big beautiful tax bill, or what I do know of the big beautiful tax bill. So the big beautiful tax bill was passed, I think it was Saturday morning or Friday night, like 3 a.m. or something like that. And I did some deep diving into this, and I'm trying to actually help everybody understand what the changes are. And all you hear on the media is that it's going to just skyrocket our national debt and a whole bunch of other things. So what I thought I'd do is take a deep dive into this. Now, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a tax preparer, I'm just like one of you guys. I'm here to explain to you guys the big beautiful tax bill and the effects it might have on you guys out there. So let's get over to it. The big thing we're seeing right through here is how the tax Trump bill is affecting healthcare industry. We're going to take a deep dive into that, because I also want to understand how SNAPs and Medicare and Medicaid is affected by this, because I have family members on the SNAPs program, believe it or not. And then right through here, the tax changes, we're going to go into those in detail. So if you guys know a lot about this, I'd love for you to join in if you're out there and know a little bit more about this information than I do. Hello, everyone. So if you guys join me today, who do we got out here? Randy Navarro. Hey, Randy. Nice to have you. And we also have Chicago. Hey, Dan. Hey, out there, folks. So if you guys would, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. But here's what I did. And you guys know I love AI. So what I did is I went into ChatGPT and I started researching things. And I wanted to understand, how this is helping, the economy and taxes and everything else. But then who's it going to hurt? So let's kind of break this down. Here's what I wanted to do with you guys. So the big beautiful tax bill, let's go over it. Here's the details of it. Basically what I did is I uploaded all the pages of, be honest with you, I uploaded the whole data into the AI system, had it read it, and then we started asking questions to it so we can a little more understand what's going on. So let's take a dive. This is just highlights of it. If you guys have some questions, let me know. I might know the answers, I might not, and we can even do some research here live when you're on here. So let's get over to it. The big beautiful tax bill, it came in. It provides significant tax relief while implementing large spending cuts to Medicare, SNAP, and the clean energy bill. So let's go through it. The big tax bill. When you start going through the top piece of this, you look at it and you're like, okay, I'll take this. So if you're a consumer out there, you're an employee, look at the benefits that we got. Standard deduction went from $31,500. If you're married, if you're single, it's $15,000. Head of household, $23,000. So senior deductions added an additional $6,000 if you're over 65 years old. Now here's where it really starts to add up. And if you're a tip or a owner, you make tips and that's how you make a living, or you make a lot of overtime, jump in here if you would and just give me your thoughts on this. But here's where that starts coming in. Tax on tips. No federal taxes on tips up to $150,000. Okay, that's great news. Overtime, you can deduct it up to $12,500 or $25,000 if you're a couple. So just think, now you don't have to pay tips on this income, and nor up to if you're married, up to $25,000 there, or up $12,500 for there. That's some great relief there. Okay, now your auto loans. If your car is bought between 2025 and 2028, and it's U.S. made, and it's a new car, you're going to be able to deduct $10,000 of that interest on your taxes. So that's another tax benefit that you're getting. Child tax credits, it increased to $2,200. SALT taxes, and we're going to dive into this. This is one of those areas that a lot of people don't understand, but the SALT tax affects a lot of states on the other side of the fence from this. And I know I wasn't going to get political, but I'm in a state that is run by the left, and I live here and I love it here, honestly. But our taxes, they're crazy. So I want to show you the states that really are benefiting from the SALT tax, and why some of these people didn't vote for the bill. So chime in, like I said, when you're watching this, if you have any thoughts on this. Pass-through deductions, 20% deductions made permanent. Trump is giving $1,000 to any U.S.-born child during this time, so it'll be $1,000. Businesses, here's a huge impact, and if you're not a business owner, this is where it comes in pretty nicely. If you own a business, you can write off 100% depreciation through 2029. This is huge if you own a business, because what will happen is, let's say you own a construction company, or you own a trucking business, and you keep buying trucks and buying trucks. You can actually take accelerated depreciation on there. This will plummet your income, saving you tons of money when it comes to taxes. So that's another piece of that puzzle there. Fully expensed for R&D. Estate and gift tax exemptions made permanent, so that's fantastic as well as there, so you can pass along that money. Now here's the area where it gets a little confusing. Spending cuts, Medicaid, $1 trillion in cuts, SNAP, cost shifting to states, and then the clean energy bill, and then how much this is going to add to our deficit. It's supposed to add $3 to $4 trillion in our deficit. So we went over just the basics of it. There's 900 pages, but this was the kind of the meat and potatoes behind it all. But what I did want to go is I want to first look at the SALT tax. So if you're in a state that has high real estate taxes like Illinois, New Jersey, New York, California, I don't know why a lot of the legislation didn't vote for this, because this helps a lot of these people. So let me explain what this is. What is the SALT deduction? SALT stands for state and local taxes. It's a federal tax deduction for state, local income, property, and sales taxes. The 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act capped the deduction to $10,000. The cap preliminary impact taxpayers in high tax states who itemize deductions. Okay, so what are these states, you might want to ask? Well, let's get down through here. The proposed change was $10,000 to $40,000. Okay, new legislation proposing the SALT tax to $40,000. Who wins? Now here's where I win. Folks, I do win in this, and I'm not a multi-millionaire, and I don't get all these exemptions and everything else, but I win right here. So here's high-income homeowners. It doesn't mean you have to have a high income to have the taxes we have in a lot of these states, but it should just say homeowners in high-tax states like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California, and Illinois. If you look at this, and we're not getting political, but I think every one of these states are run by someone who probably voted no for this bill. So that's kind of a head scratcher, but there's other pieces of this that I want to get to that might play a role in this. Okay, real estate market in high states, you might see demand increasing because of this, because now you can deduct that whole property tax deductions. Upper middle class taxpayers earning below $50,000 who itemized $500,000 who itemized deductions. So this is probably a lot of people out there, especially if you're living in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California, and Illinois. This probably fits you right through here. Now, who loses? Okay, this is where I really want to dive into this, because, folks, I am really concerned. I don't want people, if you're relying on SNAP for your children to eat, I don't want you to be hindered by this. But I'm going to go over some of these things, and it looks like maybe if we can fill in some of the loopholes here, but we'll get to that in a second. Who loses? Well, residents in low-tax states like Texas, Florida, and Nevada. Okay, Texas and Florida, they're always getting bashed because they're on the other side of the fence, so those areas lose. The federal government, due to decreased revenue. Well, we'll see how that goes, because a lot of times when people aren't paying taxes on this, if you're a gig worker, or you make money in overtime and things like that, this is going to help you, okay? So, but again, who loses? Fiscal conservatives and deficit hawks, because everybody's saying this is going to be detrimental to our debt. We're going to see how that goes over time. It's just like over the last couple of years, we've been just think of the things that we've been told. Housing market's going to crash. Okay, and it didn't. Some areas saw maybe 10% reductions, like Austin, things like that. Not a crash when you're coming off of 60, 70% returns. Okay, so that's one of those pieces. Let's keep moving to states that benefit the most. Okay, look at these states, folks. What do you think these states, where are they going? New York, New Jersey, California, Connecticut, and Illinois will benefit the most. And I'm one of those states in here. So I like the bill, because a lot of this stuff so far, it's helping me. Now let's get over to the area that a lot of people are concerned about, and it's Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAPs. Okay, so let's really break down. And folks, I ran this through as many AI systems as I could to get as accurate as I could for you, because I only want to provide the truth for you. There's no reason for me to sugarcoat this. The bill passed. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it other than let's understand it a little bit more. So I didn't really understand how the SNAP program truly worked, and Medicare and Medicaid. I'm 60 years old now, and now I got to start understanding this. So let's kind of dive into these. Medicaid. So the CAID part of this I always understood was this, it's aid. Aid right through there. It's there to help a lot of people. The Medicare, is basically for our seniors. Okay, that's a little bit of a way to understand that, I think. So if you guys contradict that, what I'm saying is, if you can explain it better, I'd love for you to join me. But let's go through here. Medicaid changes. All right. Work requirements: adults 19 to 55 must work 20 plus hours a week or join a job training sessions. Okay, so all right, you're going to start seeing this as a theme. Work requirements. Okay, block grant like funding, federal funding capped per enrollee. ACA expansion phase out, federal match rate gradually reduced. Cut to providers' taxes, limit states' workaround to draw federal funds, estimated coverage loss up to $17 million. That's the Medicaid, and I'll get to that in 1 second. But here's where one of my concerns was, and you're going to see this again. SNAPs. It's used to be known as food stamps. Now it's SNAPs. Work rules expanded. Applies to 18 to 59, including some parents. Time limit, 3 months of benefits in 36 months period without meeting work requirements. Benefit formula changes, reduces aid in high-cost areas. This is a concern. So if you're in a high-cost area, it might reduce your benefits there. Again, that's a concern. Real-time tracking, stricter monitoring. Estimated again, 2 to 4 million people will lose their assistance, and food banks will likely deplete their reserves from this. Now, I took a dive into the SNAPs program, and here's my concern, and I'll say it this way: my concern is I don't want those in need to suffer. There might be a lot of people out there. Here's my thoughts on this, folks, and take it for what it's worth. I hit skids in 2008 when the whole market imploded. So I know how it is to really be in need. But I'm still not in need. So I'm all for helping people when they're down. But the tough thing with a lot of these is it looks like, work requirements and more record keeping and things like that. Is that a bad thing? If you're out there and you're 30 years old or 40 years old and you can work and you're duping the system, you might know people like that. Doesn't it really piss you off? And you want to get down to the bottom of it? There was one thing, and I know it varies all over the place, but I watched a couple YouTube videos and some Instagram and Snapchats and TikToks and all that junk over the weekend. There was one lady, and she was complaining because she needs her checks because her and her 10 kids have to eat. 10 kids. She's a single woman, and she was just saying, breaking it down, she's like, gets X amount per child and so forth. I'm like, $10,000 a month, and you don't work, and you have a bunch of kids. Maybe that's the areas that we really need to focus in on. But I'm not going to, sit here and, bash anybody. But let's go into the SNAPs program just briefly so maybe you understand it a little bit more as you're diving down these things, because the whole goal of my channel is for us to learn. Okay, I try to teach you about real estate and things like that, but now I want to teach you about the new tax laws that took effect. And the more you know, the better off you're going to be. So who funds the SNAPs program? I always thought it was the states, because I'm like, okay, if these states are really pushing, people to go on SNAPs program, and now people are going to lose these benefits and states are at arms against it, well, it looks like a lot of the coverages are now moving to the state level. Maybe the states don't want to be or have the burden of this funding or record keeping or anything else. Let's break this down. And if you know more about this, I'd love for you to participate. So I think Chicago, what you got in there, if you can help me. My son is on Medicaid and will never be able to work, and he is paralyzed. Then he should qualify for these, and I'm all for that. But the ones, Chicago, that you probably know people out there, give me a thumbs up if you would. Do you know people out there that just mooch the system and they're not working and they know them and their family members know how to dupe the system? I'm from a small town in West Virginia. And if you can find this video, I think it's called The Whites of West Virginia. Check it out. Generation after generation after generation has learned how to get on welfare and basically use all their money and the medication that they get, and they end up selling that for more and more money, how they basically dupe the system for generations and generations. Those are the ones that really need to be cracked down on. And those are the ones that actually are making this worse for everybody else, because if you're in need, you're in need. But you also have to pick yourselves up by the bootstraps at some point. We've all been in need at some point, but try to get yourself out of that. That's why I talk about, real estate. I have a channel that we talk stocks, bonds, real estate, Stock Talk Tuesday, where I want you guys to understand stocks and things like that to help get you out of the mindset or get you out of poverty and get you into, mainstream to get out of that cycle. That's the whole benefit of this. So let's keep going down through here. But if you know more about snaps, I would love to hear anything that you have for us. My son needs his Medicaid, and I'm all for you. I agree with you on that one. A lot of people, I get bashed all the time, or I wasn't for I wasn't for the student loan deferrals or forgiveness. I put 3 kids through school and I paid for it. And then all of a sudden, 2-3 years ago, they're giving away free colleges for certain people right around election time, and that carrot was dangled in front of your eye or your eyes for a long time, and then all of a sudden it went away, and that's what happened. So Chicago, let's see what you got. That's the government's fault. Not sure what my son is Medicaid. I don't know what you're meaning by your son, the government's fault on your son. That shows they're not doing their job. Okay, so let's keep going down through here. So now here's the SNAPs bill. And again, this is my apologies, my ignorance. I thought this was funded by the state government, and I'm like, okay, the states should really be cracking down on this and have, authority on this. Now I'm starting to see why they want the SNAPs program in all the states federally funded and really no oversight on it, because they don't fund it, unless I'm wrong. Okay, so let's get over to this. Who funds SNAP? The SNAPs program is primarily funded by the federal government. However, states share responsibility in administrating the program. Here's how it's broken down. Federal government response. They pay 100% of SNAPs benefits, loaded into EBT cards, covers 50% of the administrative costs, set national rules for eligibility, income limits, and work requirements. Well, they have the ability to do that if they're funding this whole thing. So a lot of the states, if they're coming back saying, well, they shouldn't do this or anything else, maybe the states should start picking up a lot of these pieces. Just saying. Offers optional funding for state-run employment and training programs. Fantastic. They're helping in that state. State government administers the program at the local levels. Okay. Pays the remaining 50% of the administration costs. Manage local employment and training programs. May offer state-funded supplement benefits, and optional and rare. So you go down through here, and I never knew that the SNAPs program was completely funded by the federal government, and so they then should have the rules, or should be able to make the rules when it comes to who gets it and how the money's being spent. So let's see what comments you guys have. I didn't know if this was going to be a contentious video or not. I'm not here to stir the pot. I'm just here to hopefully analyze some of this data for you and give you the details. So let's get to another question. Yes, crack down on abuse to any systems. Well, thanks for joining us. Okay, so that's what we're seeing through there. So let's get over to, I want to go to this piece right through here. This is on CNBC this morning. Tax changes under Trump's big, beautiful bill in one chart. And again, folks, I'm going to do my due diligence on this because I really want to understand how these programs are working, because I don't want to come out here and give you any false information at all. So let's get down through this. Let's just do a side-by-side comparison. Current law, final legislation. And you let me know if you think the majority of these are good or bad. So let's go through this. How many of these are there? So give me a thumbs up if you think this is a good one or a bad one. We're going to go through. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's going to be 10 questions, I guess, we're going to go through. So give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you think the first one is good. $15,000. The current law is $15,000 deduction, standard deduction for single. $30,000 if you're married and filing jointly. Now the new one is $15,750. Ooh, you picked up $750 there, and $31,500 for married couple. So $1,500 there. So good or bad? My vote for this is we're not going to go to the next one until I have one person vote. I just need one thumbs up or one thumbs down, folks. Okay. You're not doing it, but let's get to the next question. Bonus deductions for older adults. Okay, so here's another one. $1,600 for ages 65 and older for 2025. $2,000 unmarried, not surviving spouse in 2025. Okay, this is now going to be deductions for older adults. Now it's going to be $600 for ages 65 and older, $8,000 for unmarried and non-survivors. Again, not a bad compromise there. So I'm giving that one. Anybody give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the old people's stuff? I'm 60. I'll be 65 soon. So I'm giving this a thumbs up. The next one is state and local tax deductions. This is the SALT deduction. We just went over it basically in details. And a lot of this is just the deductions that you have. Who's it going to benefit? It's going to benefit people in the 5 major states like New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and the other states that we went over. So you can check those out. So that's there to help those states, and most of those states, everyone listed on that list, I think voted no on this bill. I don't know. Child tax credits. Tax credit of $2,000 for a child through 2025. Refundable portion $1,700. Max credit $2,200 per child. Refundable portion $1,700. So your tax deduction went up $200 for your child. Let's see what that is. Chicago, would you give me a thumbs down on the SALT deduction? If you're in Chicago and you ever see the real estate taxes in Chicago, you'll understand why the SALT bill came into fruition for us here. Okay, the $2,000 moved to $2,200. I'm assuming if you guys want to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on that one, let's see that one. All right, so now over here, this area is going to probably affect me and you the most. $13 million estate tax plan. $13 million for single filers, or $27 million for married. I don't know if you're watching this video, you probably don't have $13 million. I don't have $13 million, but it is moving up to $15 million for single and $30 million if you're married. Now, here's more of the benefits. Okay, so let's see. Chicago, who else is out there? Chris gave me a thumbs up. Anybody out there? Now, let me know if you think these are benefits. So the estate plans, I'll give that because I don't think I'll ever be at $15 million to worry about it, but you never know. All right, taxes on tips. I don't make tips, folks, but if I was having to pay taxes on my tips, this would be awesome. Now I can deduct $25,000 per year from that. The other video, the chat GPT we had, I think it said 150. Let me go check on that real quick. I think there was a thing right here. No tips up to $150,000. That does not look accurate, folks, because the tax bill rate through here, $25,000 per year. So if you get tips and you make $25,000, from the $25,000 is deducted, so you won't have to pay taxes on your first $25,000. What are you saying on that, guys? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Overtime. Anybody out there make overtime? Would you be happy if that wasn't taxed? Okay. Deductions of up to $12,500 per taxpayer from 2025 to 2028. Okay, so another tax break for everybody. Okay, the only one so far, this $13 million, that doesn't pertain to me and probably not most of you guys out there, but so far, so good. Now, another deduction we're getting at auto loans. The car has to be a new car, has to be manufactured in the U.S., and the time frame right now is between 2025 and 2028. That's when a lot of these are functioned through. So right through here, you'll be able to take $10,000 of interest off your auto loans. This is going to help me, you, and everybody else probably watching this video, so that is a thumbs up. You're going to get, if you have a child, hopefully I don't have a child in the next 3 years, but you will get $1,000 from the federal government if you have a child. And then charitable deductions for non-itemizers, $1,000 single, $2,000 if you're married. Prior, you couldn't deduct anything. So the majority of this stuff really looks encouraging. Where the numbers fall off the rail is Medicare, Medicaid, and the SALT things. So you go back to them. Again, when you look at these, the most common denominator, and I'll do more research on this, is right through here. Medicaid, work requirements, SNAPs, work requirements and rules. And it looks like you have to either work or go into training for at least 20 hours a week or so. So, if, like, for example, we had Chicago on here. Her son's paralyzed. He can't work. Oh, he deserves this. Okay, but if you're out there and you're 30 years old and you're more than capable, but there's just some reason where you're not working or you figured out a loophole on how to get through the system, hopefully you get caught. I'll just say it that way, because me and anybody else watching this video doesn't want to pay, all these benefits on your behalf. You need to be contributing to our economy. And that's what my feelings are, and sorry, that's how they've always been. So that's our report. If you guys have any other information you'd like to go over with me, I'd love to address anything that you have down through here. This will help those in those states too qualify for more deductions if you're buying a house where the taxes, real estate taxes, are more than 10 grand. And believe it or not, you don't have to be a multi-gazillionaire in New Jersey, New York, in Illinois to have property taxes, darn close to 10,000 or more. So would SALT deductions help the housing market in states affected? Yes, they will. And that was one of the biggest things that we saw through one of the things that I did, is because you don't get to really write off a lot of those real estate taxes. My biggest concern, I'll be honest with you, my biggest concern in my area, my neighbor, like I said, they put their house up for sale. It sold in technically 2 days, put on the market on Friday night and accepted the offer on Monday, and there were several of them. But the real estate taxes here are crazy. So that was one of the detriments I thought would happen. And the SALT bill is going to help those. And even if you're in New Jersey, we get a lot of applications in New Jersey, New York. California is not as bad, but the real estate property there's are crazy. You get, let's see who's for SALT. Would you, SALT deduction being, okay. Let's see what else you had to say for SALT. Sorry, let's go back to it. What did you, would SALT, yes, it would. Because now you're getting to deduct that entire those real estate taxes or your state deductions off of your taxes. It'll help. It's not going to be, is it going to be turn the market around? No, this isn't going to be that detrimental. So you're going to be able to save, let's say you're 20,000 in total deductions. So that's an extra 10 grand. If you're in the 35% tax bracket, it's $3,500. So that's not anything that, people can now run out and buy these big, enormous homes, but at least it's some benefits. So again, when I go through the entire tax bill, I sit there and I scratch my head. Yeah, there are some people getting whacked on this thing, but a lot of it seems like they're just trying to get rid of the fraud, the abuse, and the waste. Now, people are going to be hurt during this, and those are the people that we should be concerned about, and those are the people that I'll be vocal about as well. But we need to clean up the mess. We need to clean up the federal government. We need to clean up our national deficit. And this hopefully is an entry point to that. Am I pro this or am I con this? Neither which way, folks. I'm just here to provide the information for you, so hopefully you can understand it just a little bit better. So another question out here we got. Dan, I have a mortgage-related question. Absolutely, you can ask. What you got there? So yeah, if you guys have any mortgage-related questions, I would love to be able to answer those. Let's see what's going on. I don't think it's a good day in the market, folks, today. Let's get over. So here's my precursor to the closing bell. Here's usually what I do. I'll bring up all the indices and all the Dow Jones is now down 500. Well, last week, don't be completely freaked out about this, because last week, or in the last 2 weeks, I think the Dow Jones was up about 2,000 points. So we're giving a little bit back across through there. The VIX is up two ticks, so that means anxiety levels on Wall Street, they're ticking up. Here's what we want to look at. Let's look at oil for this is the whole day today isn't looking good. Okay, we got oil up. That means inflation's going to go up. Why? Oil's in everything. Okay, so we look at these every day. We look at the bond market. The bond market's not doing very good. Sorry about that. I just hiccuped. Let's get to the MBS Live so I can show you guys what the bond market's doing right now. So we got bonds down 19 ticks. Means mortgage rates will jump up just a little bit today. Let's go see where they are for the day. So we got rates up at 4 ticks. like I said before, I don't think this is going to hit 7 again. Where we're going to be from here, well, now we got the tax bill behind us. Now all that's left for it is the tariff bills. So let's get over the tariff news and see where that's coming in for the day, so we can give you at least a precursor what the day looks like. So we got the Dow Jones down 500 points. Bond yields and rates are going up. The declining dollar faces more headwinds after post-worst first half returns of in 52 years. Trump announces steep tariffs on 5 more countries starting on the 1st, and those look like they're going to be Japan and some other countries that he's really going to whack on tariffs for today. We'll see where the tweets go tomorrow and the rest of the week, and then that'll determine where these things go the rest of the week. So that was my report for today, folks. But if you guys mark F, or there we go, ask a question away, bud, if you got one. I have 30% equity, and I hear that your interest rate is a bit lower at 30% equity than 20%. Does that happen if I bring it to 50% equity, meaning the rate would be much better if I have 50% than 30%? Yeah. So here's what we went over the other day is what's called the loan level price adjustment. So here's what actually makes up your interest rate. So let's get over to it. We take bonds, and that's why I go over this every day. So we take the bond yield on this mortgage bond, okay? Then you add in what's called LLPAs. Let me see if I can, LLPAs explain. Let me see if I can pull up one here to explain it to you. Let's see if this pulls up. It should. If not, I can go over to here to this one, but it is thinking up here. So here's, let's see if we can visit this. I don't know who this is, but let's see. Have a clue who that is. So let's just go back to image and pull up so you can more easily to understand. So trust me, folks, I'm trying to bring it up. This is what we call LLPAs. So these are loan level price adjustments, meaning these get added or taken away from your interest rate as you move forward. So let's see if we can bring this in. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so here's what it is. So if you're looking right across the top here, this is your equity position. So meaning like 97%, that means you would put 3% down if you're looking to buy this. Okay, so you're looking at what? 50% LTV. So if you're at 50%, well, you're way down here. You're down in this range here. At 30% equity, then 20%. Does it happen if I bring in 50%? Okay, so here's how it works. So the higher your loan to value, so across here is the loan to value, right? Across here is your credit scores. Okay, you can see every one of these adjustments goes a certain way. So let's just say, take for example down through here. At a 6 point, if you have a credit score of 640, we'll take the bottom line down here, 640, and you go across right through here, you would have to pay 1.25 in points more than a person, up in this category right through here. But let me answer your question. Here's your equity position. It says, meaning the rate be much higher at 50% than 30. So you're going to be at 50% right through here, or you're going to be at 30% right through here, so 70. No, there's really not much adjustments through here. You can see this. This one it'll cost you a 1/4 point more. You go down through here, depending on your credit score, it might not cost you anything at all. So the difference between there. Now here's where you get up to these ranges here when we have a lower credit score and you're needing more loan to value. That's when you really start getting hit when it comes to rates and adjustments to your rate and so forth. But that was a great question. This chart's a little bit. This one's kind of tough to go off of. It's easier to show you on rate sheets and things like that. So check out. I did a video the other day. It's on the YouTube. It's one of the live events that we did last week. Let's just go over to it and see where it is here. Let me find my channel real quick and I can find you the link to it so we can get there. Dan Frio, kind of weird looking at myself. But I just want to show you. So our channel, if you haven't really checked out the channel, we've got over 3,000 videos on here, folks. So let's go over to here, and I want to see a live event that we just did not too long ago, and it's right through here. And this is probably one of the most interesting videos you might want to watch if you're out there really concerned about interest rates. Right through here. This is what affects your rate, and we go through a whole bunch of adjustments. We talk about credit scores, we talk about loan level price adjustments, we talk about the bond market, we talk about everything that can affect your credit scores and how, and that's what we did. So let's see what the last question that you got. This question is for refinance. Yeah, on the refinance, you're probably not going to see, like we saw in the chart, you're not going to see that big of a difference. Would I bring in an extra $10,000-$20,000 to get maybe 0.05 off in the rate? No. In today's market, I think cash is king. On my house, I got a low rate, and I use any extra money. I don't prepay my mortgage. I actually just put the extra money in the market, stocks, bonds, and cryptocurrencies. So that's what I do there. Anyway, what other questions might we have? Cheaper viewers on Streambo. Remove the. I don't know which we were talking about, but that's okay. Dan, hey there, Jose. Hey Jose, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. So that should be the report for today. So hopefully at least have a more of a general understanding of the new tax bill. Probably the best one to look at. We were just there. I'll try to put that down below so you can actually go right to it, because you really want to. You should really. I'll try to check and see that where it breaks down all the details of the tax bill in a side-by-side comparison, so you can understand, that. But so far, it looks like the benefits outweigh the concerns, I guess, as long as the deficit doesn't just go skyrocketing. And that's the problem. Everybody's guessing right now on what it's going to do. A lot of times what they don't do, let's try to find that one. A lot of times what they don't do is they don't figure out any of the revenue that we're bringing in by tariffs. That's one piece of the puzzle that they're not focusing in on, and we don't know what's going to happen. And that's the thing that drives me crazy the most, because 2 years ago they kept telling us we'd be in a recession, and the recession never hit. Then we were told the markets are going to crash. Well, the market didn't crash. The housing market didn't crash. Then it was like, okay, rates are going to go to 10%. Rates never got to 10%. So if this doesn't come to fruition, if we don't have a huge increase in our national debt, what the market's going to do from there? So far the tariffs haven't caused as much havoc as we all thought. Now, is this big, beautiful tax bill going to create the havoc that some people are saying, but others are saying not? Well, folks, unfortunately, only time's going to tell. So that is my report for today. And if you need some assistance, if you're out there looking to buy, or maybe you're out there looking to refinance, I'd love to be able to help you, folks. My name is Dan Frio. I do this report. I do a report actually twice a day to inform you guys what's going on with rates and the whys behind it. And the biggest benefit people have by using us is, one, you get to use me. I've been doing this for over 35 years, and folks, I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions, so I can help kind of navigate you through the home buying process and even the home refinance process. So if you're out there and you're looking to refinance or buy that first house, I'd love to be able to help you. The best way to find out more about me and my team is just go to therateupdate.com. Here's what we ask you to do. If you're out there ready to buy and just want to kick the tires, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk with you, and it's not a high-pressure sales. Basically, what we're going to do is we want to get, I always say to people, let me get the pieces of the puzzle from you so then I can help you put the puzzle together. So that's all we do. So give us a call. Our number's right here at the top. You can ask me a question right through here if you'd like to do that. You can start your application anywhere down through here. But here's some cool tools that we have for you. So if you're out there looking to buy, I don't know if you saw this, but we have a grant program that'll give you up to $7,000 if you're looking to buy. It's income based. So if you check this video, and it'll actually give you a map on where to go to, you can check it out and see if you're eligible for that program. If you're out there and you're like, hey, Dan, I'd really like to refinance. I don't know what rate would make sense. Every time I seem to track it, I always miss it. Well, we actually have a rate tracker for you. So it's up here in the refinance tool. And this is what you're going to do is you're going to click that. And here's what we're going to ask you to do on this. Just watch the quick video. All we want to know is about your mortgage. And we don't sell the data. Basically, you're going to tell me, you're going to say, Dan, we bought our house in the end of 2023. We spent $350,000 on it. We have a $300,000 mortgage on it at 8%. When rates get at 6.5%, can you reach out to me and help me get this refinanced? That's what we're going to do. So in here, you're going to put in your rate that you're at now, and then the rate you're looking for. And then when the rate hits that, I'll get you on the phone, or I'll reach out to you. We'll get the paperwork started and get you locked in. So that's what we can do for you there. And then if you're just a homeowner, home buyer, just wanting to learn about just anything, just go down through here. There's tons of videos, podcasts, and everything else you need to navigate the home buying or the home refinancing journey. So that's my report for today, folks. I will be back at the closing bell, but the precursor of that is bonds are down, rates are up, and it looks like the stock market's getting hammered as well today. So not a good day in the markets, but not every day can be a glorious day in the market like we see in the last 2 weeks. So that's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed today's video and at least you learned something. And thanks for joining me. And I'll be back tomorrow with Stock Talk Tuesday. I'll be back Wednesday on Real Estate Talk and answer any questions that you guys have if you're looking to buy